Hello, this is MrChabry, and today we're looking at the normal type Pokemon that you can catch in Black and White. Watchog's going to be a normal type that you're going to have access to pretty early on in the game, and being a Route 1 Pokemon, or at least the final evolution of one, it's not that great stat-wise. 85 attack is its best stat, and 77 speed means it's not really fast. It's really frail, and its special attack is pretty much nothing. This is a pretty terrible Pokemon. The only interesting thing is it has access to Hypnosis, but if you're running something just so you have access to Hypnosis, I would prefer not to run this thing. This is a pretty terrible Pokemon. On the flip side, Statlin is actually a really great Route 1 Pokemon. This thing has pretty decent stats. 100 attack is decent. 80 speed isn't the best, but it is pretty good for being a final form of a Route 1 Pokemon. Its defense is 90, and its special defense is 90. HP is 85, meaning this thing's going to at least have some survivability. Plus, it has really great abilities. Intimidate's going to help it in terms of survivability. Sand Rush is going to boost that speed stat even more. And if you get your hands on a scrappy Statlin, you're going to be able to hit ghost types with your stab normal type moves. Out of all the normal types, especially looking at the early Pokemon that you can get, this is actually pretty good for being the final form of a Route 1 Pokemon. Unfezant, also being an early normal type that you can have access to, is pretty interesting because it has that flying type. Has a 105 attack, which is good, and 93 speed, which is decent. So it can hit things pretty decently, and it's pretty speedy compared to some of the other early Route 1 Pokemon. However, it's not very good in terms of survivability, and that special attack stat is terrible. So if you do run this thing, make sure you don't rely on special moves. You want to use that attack stat. However, I do believe that there are other normal types that would be better than this thing if you're really wanting to use a normal type Pokemon. So if you're playing through Black and White, you're going to see a ton of these Audinos, and even though they're really good at helping you level up your Pokemon, they are pretty terrible if you want to use this on your team. Its best stat is a 103 HP, and it does have okay-ish defense and special defense. But other than that, it's not going to be doing much in terms of offensive or anything like that. You could run it for mostly support because it does have access to Wish and Toxic. But really, that's all you're going to be running this thing for. And as an in-game team, support Pokemon, you want to have a little bit more survivability. 86 defense and special defense is decent, but there's other Pokemon that can do this role way better. In terms of speed, Chinchino is really good on that front. However, its attack stat is pretty decent, 95. Other than that, it doesn't have much else to bring. It does have a cool ability, Skill Link, which means moves like Tail Slap, Rock Blast, and Bullet Seed are going to have a boost in their chances of hitting 5 times. However, this isn't the best Pokemon in terms of if you're wanting to use power on your team. It's mostly used for that small little niche of multi-hit moves. And other than that, it doesn't really bring much to the table. Salzbuck is very interesting. It is a normal type Pokemon that also has grass typing, which makes it very unique. And with that, it is also pretty decent in terms of speed and attack. Plus, you have really nice abilities such as Chlorophyll and Sap Sipper. Sap Sipper, you're going to get an attack boost if you bring this thing in on a grass-type move. Chlorophyll, if you set the sun, this thing's going to outrun pretty much anything that you throw out there. So, Salzbuck is a really great normal-type Pokemon. Plus, having that grass typing, that can cover both ends of your typing needs. Bouffalant is a great normal type Pokemon. The only thing holding this thing back is that you get it way later in the game. However, looking at its stats, it does a lot of things very well. It's got a 110 attack, which means you're going to be hitting things pretty hard. Plus, it has really good bulk, 95 HP defense and special defense. It's going to be able to take hits. It isn't the fastest Pokemon, but this thing does really good at hitting really hard and taking hits. Plus, you've got really nice abilities such as Reckless and Sap Zipper, which we've already looked at kind of before, but this is going to boost your damage output in certain circumstances. So Bouffalant, even though it's a way later game Pokemon, it actually can do pretty nice things. And another Pokemon that's held back as being a way late stage Pokemon is going to be Bravery. Stats-wise, this thing is an amazing normal type Pokemon, and this thing completely outclasses Unfezant. However, since it's so late in the game when you finally have access to this thing, a lot of people might not want to run it. This thing has an amazing 123 attack stat, plus it has really good survivability with 100 HP. Defense and special defense are at 75. It isn't the greatest, but that 100 HP will help it out. Plus, 80 speed is pretty decent. This thing can do quite a few things, and the only thing really that holds it back is, of course, being way late in the game. Defiant is a great ability. It's going to give you a attack boost whenever you bring this thing in on an Intimidate Pokemon. So, this is an amazing normal type Pokemon. So looking at Meloetta, this is a mythical Pokemon, so you're not really going to have access to it during your playthrough, but I do want to talk about what it brings as a Pokemon in and of itself. This thing is a normal type Pokemon, which is really cool, plus it has two separate forms that you actually switch between by using the move Relic Song. Its first form is Normal Psychic, which is a really cool type combination. It has really good special attack and special defense at 128, and it is pretty speedy at 90 speed. 100 HP means it's going to be able to take some hits on that special side. However, once you use Relic Song, it goes into its Pirouette form, which trades the Psychic type out for Fighting type. And now it has 128 attack rather than special attack and 128 speed. So that's going to be your fast, hard-hitting form, whereas the base Meloetta is going to be your bulkier special form. It does have the ability Serene Grace, which is going to boost chances on secondary effects from your move. So Shadow Ball, Psychic, Focus Blast are going to get a boost on those secondary effects, which is really nice. This Pokemon would be a great Pokemon to use on your team. However, since it's mythical, you're not really going to have access to it. And there it is, the normal type Pokemon. Of course, not a lot of people think about normal type Pokemon when they're building out their team, but there are a few here in Unova that actually would be pretty nice to put on your team if you're wanting to put a normal type on your team. Anyway, if you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next Pokemon video.